how to generate $5 for every $1 spent in e-commerce without being a Facebook ads expert. And this is lessons from 2 million per month ad spend, plus why you must pay attention to avoid the Facebook slaps. And I'll explain what that means as well. Now, right now, someone somewhere is converting your prospect into a customer with Facebook ads, and they're doing it consistently, predictably, and profitably. And by the end of this workshop, I want you guys to be confident of doing the same as well. And they're doing it more than just being able to make Facebook ads work for them. And the thing is, they're not experts. They're not tied into Ads Manager like a lot of us feel we do. And they're growing their business despite what's going on. Now, let me give you an example here. This is someone I've helped over the last few years. His name's Eric. He grew a 7-figure e-commerce business without being a Facebook ads expert. His ad account was completely unstructured. And if you know anything about Facebook ads and you looked at his ad account, you'd be like, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is impossibly wrong. And you'd be quite surprised that he's successful, but he's highly profitable with his growth. And when he brought his ad account to me, because he'd grown it to 7 figures and now he needed an agency to help, I looked at the ad account and I was like, wow, you've done really well. But there are secrets behind how to make this work. And let me share that with you. Eric's store is an apparel e-commerce business. He had an offer, he had his funnel set up. His ad account wasn't done as well as it could have been, but he had an amazing offer and some ads that convinced people to come out of the newsfeed, to come out of Instagram and click into his site. So his offer was all about confidence and style for nursing mums. It's just clothing at the end of the day. But as with anything that you're selling online, whether it's a product or a service, it's about matching the message to what the consumer wants. His targeting was simple: women 18 to 45, some lookalikes and some interests. But the ad angles were the ones how he was able to cut through the news feed and appeal to his target customers. And then he took that into some simple ad account structures. So top of funnel, talking about cool fashion, comfort, care, regular mum life, and then working through retargeting. And I'll show you how that translates with what we do and how we're able to overcome a lot of the changes and challenges that happen with Facebook so that you don't have to stress out about all the kind of technical things that go on as well. So you might be asking at this stage, because there's so many things going on, what about, the algorithm and the data and the iOS things and the cookie things and the manual bids and optimizations and conversion APIs? There are so many things that will distract you away from making money with Facebook that if you just follow those things, you'll get into a wheel spin. Now, there are a lot of people that are technically very, very good at Facebook, but they don't know how to make money with Facebook. So they'll understand all the technicalities of, stitching in all the data and doing all the analysis. There are far more people on Facebook, and there are 10 million people that are advertising that are not very technical, but they know how to make money. And that's what I want to show you today. Now, here's the thing. If we go back, I think maybe 120 odd years, this quote was from an advertiser at the time who was one of the first people to open a department store in the US. You might know his name. If you don't, let me tell you his quote. So, half the money I spend on advertising is wasted. The trouble is I don't know which half. So if you just think about that, this is way back beyond the days of the internet and data tracking and analysis and stats and automations. Anything that we take for granted right now, they had a similar problem to what we have right now. Because when you spend on Facebook and then you introduce Google and email, you're going to be constantly asking that question: how do I know what's actually working? How do I analyze this and make sense of this? So this guy was John Wanamaker. And, back then he was one of the pioneers of advertising because he was combining advertising with getting people into his department store. And this was his problem. Let me give you another example. This is a quote from someone I've learned from when it comes to combining, I guess, the art of advertising with the science of advertising. He said, the man who wins, and bear in mind, there weren't many women advertising 120 years ago, but, man or woman, who wins out and survives does so only because of superior science and strategy. And this was at a time, this is Claude C. Hopkins, this was at a time where, again, everything was offline. It was print, maybe some, magazines and door drops and things like that. Yet he was still doing what, as his book is called, scientific advertising. He was doing split testing. He was looking at data and deciding which creative is working better, which message is working better, what's my conversion rates. He was doing that 120 years ago, before we had our ads manager and instant access to data. So what I want you to take from this is whatever problems that are going on right now with being able to track data, or which may come up in future, advertising, good advertising and marketing will always win out. The people that want to look cool with Facebook ads will introduce hacks. They'll introduce YouTube videos. They'll go into Facebook groups and say 5 campaigns, 5 ad accounts, 5 ads, $50 per ad set, kill this, do that, do that, do that. It looks really cool. And I see this all the time. I look at Facebook groups and I read these kind of case studies, and it's super complicated. I'm thinking, and it gets lots of likes and questions and comments because people think it looks really cool. But that's not really how it works. The truth is, paid advertising has worked for centuries. Startups and billion-dollar businesses have thrived and survived. And, if you're looking for short-term success, if you want something that makes you feel good, then go ahead, do these hacks, do these combinations and crazy things that go on. But if you want to grow a business, if you want sustainability and profitability, there is a better way. And also right now, Facebook advertising is still the fastest way to grow your business to 8 figures with paid ads. I've done that. I've been all the way through from 0 to 7 figures to 8 figures, and I'm doing it now. I will continue doing it. But here's what I want you to understand. I've been telling people for years that Facebook is changing. This landscape is changing. Well, I'm here today to tell you Facebook has changed dramatically already. And if you're not ready for this, if you're not ready with what needs to be done to make Facebook ads work, it's just going to get worse. It's going to get more expensive. Your conversions are going to drop. Your cost per acquisition, your return on ad spend, everything's going to become so much more difficult. If you've been following what's happening with Facebook over the last few years, they're getting hammered from every single angle that you can think of. So from governments and privacy policies and competitors, Facebook are getting it from everyone. And you've probably noticed that Apple are one of the biggest competitors of Facebook right now. Even if Facebook and Apple might be in slightly different industries, it's all about the consumer's spend. And one of the big challenges that I see right now is people panic. People see all these changes happening and they think they have to change their advertising strategies. And I'm here to tell you that when you get your advertising strategy and you make it work, you'll be able to bypass most of these changes. Yes, you might make some tweaks in how you understand the data and what you do with it, but fundamentally advertising does not change. It has not changed much over the last 120 years and more, because we don't change that much. The way we advertise to people might change. So Facebook versus a magazine 100 years ago, but the messaging and how we deliver that remains the same. So the problem we have right now is Facebook can and do change the rules. Bans happen, ads get expensive, data gets confusing, and all of these things will throw you out. Advertisers will feel like they're chained to Ads Manager, and it'll get even worse if you're not looking at the right things. Apple, governments, etc., will make you at least feel like you're losing control. And the lack of systems will cause anxiety and stress. I know this because when I started with Facebook ads, I had no idea of the kind of systems that you should be and could be using, and it caused me so much anxiety as well. And the majority of 10 million Facebook advertisers, unfortunately, will fail. And that's why I'm trying to get as many people to understand the right way of running ads. There are many different strategies you can use, but the fundamentals don't change. So here's some of the symptoms that will happen if you're not following what needs to be done with Facebook advertising. So many advertisers will struggle with reading the data. If you're relying on what worked 12 months ago, 24 months ago, you're going to struggle. You have to keep up to date. Many advertisers will feel like failures. I have spoken to so many people who are actually quite knowledgeable, quite good advertisers. They'll come to me with their results and say, this isn't working, that's not working. I don't know what I'm doing. In reality, you're still a good advertiser. You just need to adapt to what's happening. Many small and growth stage businesses will crumble. And this is the worst part of what's happening with Facebook and the environment right now, is a lot of these small businesses that rely on fairly cheap and accessible advertising, they're going to struggle. Clients won't understand why data looks bad. So, as much as I run my own e-commerce business and info products and coaching and training, I also have an agency. And these are conversations that will get worse and worse because people will, clients will look at their ad account and say, my return on ad spend 12 months ago was this, and now it's like that. If you can't have that conversation, if you're running ads for clients, or if you're running your own ads in your own ad account, if you don't understand what's going on, you're going to make bad decisions as well. And on the flip side of this, the really good agencies and freelancers will start to charge a higher premium because there will be so many more people that won't understand how Facebook ads work in the new kind of world we're in. And there won't be enough agencies and freelancers out there. And therefore, the prices will go up. So whether you're running ads for yourself or you are an agency or a freelancer right now, the opportunity is going to get better. Facebook advertisers will lose sleep, money, and sanity. I know that because I've been there. I know that because I speak to the community as well. Now, since 2014, the story's been the same. Higher costs, competition, Facebook's dying, algorithm changes, new ad products, new hacks, policy issues. This happens every single year. This year is no different. When you go back to 2014, 2015, 2016, this is how users would interact in the newsfeed. They would see your ad, they would click and they would buy. Now, they're not clicking and buying straight away. They don't trust you. They don't trust you because competitors have let them down. You need to build that trust up and show them that you're worthy of that click and the sell. We ran another survey recently, and these were the biggest issues that came up. Unstable, yo-yo-like performance, hard to understand numbers to make the right decisions, fear of breaking something when something's working and you don't want to change it. Difficulty scaling, you change things and actually you lose profits as well. And dealing with platform changes. Question 2, does any of that sound familiar to you? So with rising costs, more competitors, policy issues, unpredictable performance, global issues, what should you do? The solution is to stop advertising on Facebook. So thank you. That's the end. If you're concerned, if that's what you're worried about, if you feel like there is no other way to advertise, then the logical thing is stop advertising on Facebook and go to another platform. But obviously, I'm not here to do that for you today. So if you're still here, I want you to change that story. By the time you finish this workshop, I want you to understand the opportunity on Facebook is still big. There are still opportunities to get lower cost clicks, higher conversions, and higher profitability as well. I want you to understand that Facebook can and still will be affordable, stable, profitable, scalable, easier, structured, and more predictable as well. So over the next probably 30 or 40 minutes, I'm going to break down our strategies, and they're suitable for these type of people. So if you're selling products or services online already, i.e. you're in e-commerce, if you're doing it for your own business, maybe you're doing affiliate offers or you're running it for clients, you already know how to run ads. So, this is not going to teach you how to actually go into Ads Manager and upload things. And you're after stable, predictable, profitable results with Facebook. And that allows you to actually take a step back from Ads Manager and focus on your business growth, because that's the thing that's going to shift the needle for you. Today is not for you if you're brand new to Facebook ads, you don't have an existing product or service, you believe Facebook ads will solve all your business problems because Facebook is only one part of growing your business, or if you don't care about customer service, and I'll explain that as well. Or maybe you prefer shortcuts or hacks with no effort. Any good advertising requires some effort. And also, this is a hack-free zone. So, I'm not going to talk about duplications and bid levels and sacrificing lambs and buying new business managers and delaying pixels. They are short-term hacks. And if you followed Facebook for any amount of time, I would say most, if not all of these hacks don't last more than maybe a year or maybe a few months. If you go back over the years and think about all the people that are giving you hacks and ideas and quick shortcuts to make things work, Facebook block them, Facebook adapt, Facebook know what you're doing. My strategies have been going on for, 6, 7 years, and they continue to work right now despite everything that's going on, and they will continue to work. So things might look bad, but now is the time of big opportunity. If you look at what's happened, for example, in 2020, there was a massive shift with what happened in 2020, where people have shifted so much more money online. And actually the demand for e-commerce grew significantly in 2020 into 2021. And that's our new reality. People have been trained to buy online. So you talk about, I'm suffering with Facebook. I don't think Facebook will work. And you think Facebook's going down, yet more and more consumers are coming online to buy online. Where do you think you need to be? You need to be following that trend. So it's about time to get those results from Facebook. So a better solution is to start serving magnetic ads to your prospects and work with the Facebook algorithm, not against it. So just a quick intro for those of you that are on the workshop that don't know who I am before I get stuck into the detail. So I've been running Facebook ads since about 2012, had a lot of struggle initially. Prior to that, I was in affiliate marketing. I'll give you the background of that. But right now, I run a Facebook ads community. I talk on stage, sometimes dress up as a chef as well. I host and attend masterminds and do talks around the world when we're allowed to travel. And also, on one side, I have an agency. On the other side, we've got training program. And we also run our own e-commerce stores as well. And that's all because I love what I do. I love advertising. I love generating sales and seeing those leads come in. But if you go back to, I think around 2009, I was in a corporate life. So I was climbing that corporate ladder. And in 2009, I lost my job. It was about the time where the global financial crisis had hit. And, initially I thought, I'm going to find another job. But I was in the queue of hundreds of other, advertisers and marketers that were also looking for jobs. It took me 3 months to find a new job. And at this point, I had 5-6 years experience of online marketing, yet there was a mass redundancies in the UK at the time. Fortunately for me, that's when I fell into affiliate marketing. So from 2009, I didn't have money, but I had a lot of time. And I would spend all that time in forums, asking questions, researching, trying to figure out how I could make money online. By 2011 and 2012, we took that, me and my partner, we took that affiliate marketing business to 7 figures. And, if you bear in mind, I didn't have money to invest in training. I didn't really know what I was doing. I had no guidance. And back then, there wasn't a concept of Facebook groups, and YouTube channels were not very good. We still made it through. And it took me probably 2 years longer than it should have done. But this was me learning myself, also finding a job and doing part-time affiliate marketing. So I was a typical bedroom affiliate, and we made it work. However, in 2012, bear in mind, I was relying on SEO. Massive changes happened. It threw my business away. So if you look at where Facebook is right now, big changes are happening. I don't know, maybe if it's the same level as Google was in 2012, but I've learned from that. I've learned not to just rely on that platform and the technicalities of the platform like I did back in 2012, and be able to adapt and think ahead and plan ahead. And, if I go back to 2012, if it wasn't for that, I would not have entered Facebook ads. So back in 2011, 2012, I started advertising on Facebook. I wasn't generating sales. I was still spending thousands on trying to figure this thing out. And, if you look at my campaigns and things that I was doing back at that time, it was embarrassing. I didn't really know what I was doing, but I needed another marketing channel because my affiliate marketing business went to 0 sales because I had no traffic. So I went into Facebook to try and run some ads, and I couldn't figure it out. And it took me, I think 2013, 2014, I started working with an e-commerce business. They were a team of about 10 people, all freelancers, and they had a good product. In 2013, they had generated 800K in revenue. In 2014, when I started working with them, I helped them to take that to 8 million. We 10x their revenue in the space of 12 months through Facebook ads. And I figured it out. And then in 2015, we 3x that to 26.5 million. At that point, Facebook noticed. So as some of you may know, I work quite closely with Facebook. I've been to their HQ. I speak at their events. And I have intricate detail of what's happening inside Facebook. And also the industry's noticed as well. So now I've gone from a position of people not knowing who I am and what I do to really noticing, but I haven't really done anything much different to what I'm going to show you shortly as well. Now, disclaimer from what I'm going to share today, you're not going to instantly scale to 7 or 8 figures. I can't do that instantly either. At first, I wanted to make more money than I spent. So if I was making, $1.10 back for every dollar spent, that would have been good for me. Now I can scale businesses much easier to 7 figures and do it in a repeatable fashion because I have the structure and the formulas, and I'll show you that as well. So, question, are you ready to see what really needs to be put in for Facebook ads? Well, I hope so. Let me show you. Now, number one, let's look at the problem. Facebook ads is a Ferrari of an engine. So if you were given a Ferrari right now and let's say you've never driven before, or you have driven, but you've never driven a sports car, how long do you think you're going to last before, you maybe crash out or spin out? Even if you look at this right now, and I say to you, right, here's the key, go and get started. Your first thing is, where do I put the key in? Okay, where's the on button? Where are the indicators? There are going to be so many questions going through your mind. And then even if you get the car started, how do you keep that car on the track? This is the same problem that happens with Facebook. People want to take their business onto the track and accelerate it fast. But if you don't know how that car is going to operate on the track and how to navigate the track, guess what? You spin out. And this is exactly the same thing that happens with Facebook. The other thing is, people will look at my success and say, you've made some money, you've grown some accounts significantly, et cetera, et cetera. You've clearly had success after success. The reality is I've probably tested and I've probably lost more than the average marketer. And I put that time into testing literally every single day, because I'm going to learn something different. I'm going to learn something new, a different way of doing something. And that's what differentiates the people who are at the top of the game to the ones that are trying to get there. And what I'm going to try and share with you is to learn from those losses so that you can bypass a lot of those learnings as well. So I focused on the wrong things until I realized something. Every advertising success I'd had or seen in accounts I'd audited, like Eric's, came down to this. Now, number one, you can sell bad products. So if you've got, a widget or whatever it is, and that product is useless, let's just say it says it does this. You've seen the bad examples from places like AliExpress, where someone buys something that looks like this, it looks like that. It's very easy to sell bad products. You can also sell products with bad Facebook ads setup. I see it time and time again. And I'd say the majority of people that come to me for audits or in the agency or the training, the majority of the ad accounts are not done in the way it should be. However, they're still making money and they're successful. You can sell ads with bad funnels. You can sell products, because if your marketing is that good, people will persist through a bad funnel. Maybe your conversion rate is not as high as it should be, but you can still sell. But here's the thing. If you have a bad offer, your messaging, your ad, your content is bad, then it's very difficult to sell. And this is one of the things that people don't understand about Facebook advertising. Forget all the technicalities, forget, your optimizations and how you're structuring your campaigns to use ad set budgets, campaign budgets, manual bid, whatever it is. If you have a bad offer, it doesn't matter. If you have bad content and your funnel isn't that good, you're going to struggle. So I spent hundreds of hours reverse engineering this and discovered just 4 things that I saw as a pattern with all my advertising campaigns that worked consistently. The advertising core 4, product, audience, offer, and funnel. That's it. If you can get these 4 right, you will make any advertising platform work. And I'll show you how we make that work on Facebook. Because when you plug all of these into Facebook, your performance gets better. You pay lower costs and you get higher conversion rates. So let me tell you about Eric's secret. It was all to do with the offer and the ad. So yes, he may not have had the best account structure, may not have excluded audiences in the right way, may not have set up retargeting in the right way, but his message was strong enough to bypass all of that. And he was getting consistently positive results. Here's Reinhardt's secret. He tweaked the offer. He doubled his return on ad spend. Here's Simon's secret. He changed the offer and doubled return on ad spend the very next day. So this is not, let's multiply our, ad sets and duplicate this. That's the short-term hack. I'm giving you consistent results. So all 3 were also not Facebook ads experts. Some of you on this workshop, I'm sure you're experts. Some of you might be technically better than me as well. However, these strategies work whether you're an expert or not, because it's all about advertising and marketing to grow your business. So the advertising core 4 levels the game for everyone. So regardless of what level you're at with Facebook advertising and all the technical expertise, once you understand the core 4, the AC4, it levels it. So I'll give you the case study of when we grew that business to 26.5 million. We had a product, we kind of understood our audience, we had our funnel, but we really honed our offer. And that's what made this so successful. If you look at the ad account at that time, there was nothing special we were doing. Our key offer was to create ads which showed to people that we had the most uniquely personalized keepsake gift for kids ever. That was it. And the book was just a personalized children's book. Our audience were adults that loved children. So gifting. So any adult that would gift to a child was our audience. We used some basic lookalikes, interests, and some broad audiences, but that's not where the magic came from. And most of this was done through simple campaign structures and not using manual bid. But the ads were talking about emotional and functional reasons to buy. We were hooking someone's need and creating desire to buy our product. So if you look at our top of funnel campaigns, we were connecting emotional appeal. So, do you want to be the best uncle or aunt at the party, or do you want to create a lifetime gift for the child that's going to love it right into adulthood? Retargeting with testimonials, user-generated content, etc., etc. There was nothing special about this except getting that message right. Also, what the AC4 does is it builds positive signals to Facebook. So this is not just, get your advertising right and everything's going to work. This works specifically because it delivers what the ad platforms need as well. So I know there's a lot of questions around, Facebook's data and what it's getting and what it's sending back to you. The AC4 gives Facebook what it needs. So if you want to see how we make the AC4 create Facebook as a result, then get your notepad ready and I'll show you. So there's 3 secrets of getting the AC4 to create profitable ad campaigns. Number 1, you'll be able to discover if your campaigns will work before spending $1 on ads. And this is so powerful because you skip so much time and money spent on trying to figure things out. Number 2, you can create as many ads and audiences as you need in hours for your audiences as well. This just bypasses a lot of the stress and strain that comes with not being creative or not being such a good copywriter or a marketer as well. And the third part is how to generate $5 back from every dollar spent, and at least keeping your ad account profitable without being a technical Facebook advertiser, and also not worrying so much about what changes Facebook are making. So, number 1, how to discover if your campaigns will work before spending $1 on ads. Let me take you back many, many years before money was invented, right? So first of all, if you wanted to buy bread, if you wanted bread and you had something to offer in return, let's say you're a dairy farmer, you would trade your excess milk for the baker's excess bread. So there was an exchange of value. We then turned that into money so that we can exchange gold or silver or pieces of paper which were supposedly worth something as well. You trade that in. It's all about value exchange. So just keep that in mind, because when I was failing at Facebook, I didn't understand that as a concept. I was not passing value either to the user or to Facebook. So my costs were expensive. And because I wasn't given any value, I was not getting actions. You saw from the screenshot, I was not getting any sales. I was getting, some of these CPMs, the costs, they were fine, but I wasn't getting any sales. So I was just wasting money. Then I took the technical route because, what I figured out was technically I didn't have the right campaign structures and I didn't have the right ad sets and the budgets and things like that. I focused really heavily on Facebook, and then my costs did come down, but I was still not getting sales. Then I figured, right, let's change that around. Maybe it's something to do with my funnels or my ads. And I was still not getting the results I needed until I balanced the two out. Then I was getting the action. So, learning how and when to deliver value unlocked everything I needed with Facebook ads. I learned how to deliver value. I delivered value both for Facebook and the human user. I modeled this to figure out if I had enough value before running ads. And this was all done through these 4 simple concepts. It took me 10 years to realize how simple advertising actually was by just breaking it down into the simplest components. So if I show you the AC4 model right now, there are 4 things that I want to know. So number 1, with my product, do I have a clear solution or opportunity? Am I creating something better than the customer has already? Do I know my audience? Do I know their needs and desires? Can I convince them to engage and click? So the offer is literally just connecting your product and your audience. That's all it is. An offer doesn't have to be a discount or a promotion. An offer is a message that says, going back to the trading of bread versus milk, that's the offer. If I offer you milk, can you give me some bread in exchange? With this, you're saying, if I present this ad, will you give me a click and then hopefully make a purchase? Then your funnel comes in to convert that click into a sale. So people buy solutions and opportunities. They just need convincing. So if you deliver an ad into the newsfeed and, even if you go completely broad, 25 plus females, and you're selling some apparel or some hair care products or some supplements, whatever it is, as long as your ad is convincing that person, A, that the ad you're showing has some value to get them to stop scrolling and take notice, and B, the product or proposition you're putting in front of them is good enough to generate that click, and then your funnel has to convince them that that click was worth doing into a purchase. That's all it is. And when you do that, you're making Facebook happy, because Facebook want ads that users interact with, because that means that the user's getting a good experience. And when people click onto your site and they don't go straight back to Facebook, that means that you've engaged that customer, and they're going through your funnel, and Facebook can track all the purchases made and things that are happening on your site as well. So when you tie all of that together, you end up with lower costs from Facebook and higher conversion rates from your user. That's as simple as it is. So when I go through my core 4, I go and grade each of these, from a grade of 1 to 5. What I want to do is identify where the problems are, because when you do this before you start advertising, you know where you need to focus in on as well. So we then tabulate that. So we create a table with those 4 sections, and we score them out of 5. And that total score, and this is guaranteed by doing this over hundreds and hundreds of different businesses and accounts, we know that when that score is at a certain level, either the business is not ready for advertising, and therefore you need to fix a few things. Maybe it is ready, but there's still a few tweaks to make, or it's actually ready to scale. So this example here was I think some kind of pet product. We graded it 11 out of 20, and as you can see through the circling, the offer was not very good, and also the funnel was not very good. So what do you think happens when you run ads to this particular brand and you don't have a very good message in your newsfeed, and you don't have a very good funnel? Over time, your CPM, your costs go up, your conversions stay low, and you're just going to hemorrhage money. You're just going to keep on pumping money into Zuckerberg's Christmas fund, because that's all you're doing. You're just giving Facebook money. With this kind of knowledge, you know what you need to fix. So, okay, if the message isn't that good, let's do some research. Let's actually do some research on the audience. How do we get a better message? If we know the funnel's not very good, let's go and look at some other funnels. Let's try and create a better message, because then when you put that into Facebook, you have a higher chance of success. I'll give you another example. This was an example of a business which I think it's the one that we actually scaled up to 16 million in 5 months. So, as a case study, people look at that and think, we're amazing as an agency, and we took this store from a couple of million to 16 million in 5 months. Here's the secret. We did the analysis, and this business scored 17 out of 20. They had a great product and proposition. They really understood their audience. Their funnel was one of the fastest loading and most slickest and best designed and high converting as we've seen. They just had some problems connecting the product with the audience. That's the only thing that we connected and fixed, and then we scaled it. And then we were able to fly into 16 million in sales. But without that kind of work done already, and if we went into Facebook ads without a great funnel or really understanding the proposition and the problem we're solving for customers, we would not have succeeded in the same way. So the AC grading increased our success rate and saved us wasted time and money from trying to figure it out as we go. This is the mistake that many people do, is they want to go into Facebook ads too early without really optimizing those different parts. And it doesn't have to take that long. But I can tell you from seeing this hundreds and hundreds of times, if you grade 10 or below on that chart, you're not ready for scaling. You're not ready for Facebook ads. You've got other things you need to sort out. If you grade 11 to 16, you can start some advertising, but you're going to have to tweak and improve as you go. If you grade 17 or higher, you're ready for scaling. So that's what I want you to take away from this, that you're going to save time and money by actually getting all of this in place and being able to create a plan of improvement before you run those ads. So the key takeaway today is the AC key takeaway number 1 from today is the AC4 framework will guide you on launching ad campaigns successfully and profitably faster. Get this right before you run ads to save time and money. So just make a note of that. So secret number 2 of the AC4, right, we understand all the opportunities and all the problems. How do we create great offers? How do we create great content? How do we do our funnel? How do we create ad angles and copy and things like that? How you create this is, what we want to do is take all of that knowledge and figure out how to create as many ads and audiences as we need in hours, ready to test. And there is a simple way to do that. So if you look at how to win with Facebook ads, if you listen to all the noise out there, you will get all these kind of different strategies for scaling fast and cutting corners. But, if you look at really what's going on, everyone has a different set of puzzles. Your business is different to mine, is different to his, and different to hers. You need to bring those puzzle pieces together in a way that's structured and gives you the blueprint and the map. So, if I look back at why things didn't work out and when I was not generating sales, I kept failing because I couldn't find ads and audiences that worked. And the other thing about this is, there's no, one of the struggles that you will come across is shiny object syndrome. So shiny advertising strategy syndrome, as I call it as well. You need to focus on the proven things that work and avoid the noise of other things that don't work. Once you're stable and you're profitable, then for sure, test some of the things out on the side. But the more different strategies you try and bundle in, the harder it becomes for you to get stability. And the realization for me was I knew I needed to deliver value, but what does value actually look like? If I could connect with my prospect and get them to take action, then I can generate sales and scale up. But how can I test this? Let's take a step back here, right? If you look at Facebook and what they tell you, this diagram at the bottom is Facebook's algorithm. What it's telling you is if you are looking for stable results, if you're looking for the cheapest but highest quality clicks, you need to understand this algorithm. So what Facebook does is when your ads hit the auction, they're looking for ads that keep the user happy, which means that you've got fairly decent click-through rates and you're getting good feedback, you're getting good conversions, your site loads fast, etc., etc. So this quote here is from Facebook. Our goal is to match the right ad to the right person at the right time. The ad that creates the most value wins the auction and the user. That's as simple as it is. So all the technical things that go on outside and inside of Facebook, this is the core of success. This is the core of my success. This is where the AC4 model came from, because that's exactly what I want to deliver. So, if you think about product, audience, offer, and funnel, that's exactly what Facebook's telling you as well. So how can you apply this? And let me show you. So there are 4 steps that I put in place. So number 1 is, if I'm thinking about my product proposition, so whatever you're selling online, product or service, one thing I refer back to is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So every human, and this is a simplified model, and there's different models out there, but every human has some basic needs like breathing, sleeping, water, or drinking, and food, and things like that. Then you have some additional needs like having a house, having some income and things like that. Then you have social needs like friendships, families, etc. Then you have your confidence and self-esteem. And then you get the things that you want to kind of extend into. So mindfulness, or you want to be great at a particular sport, or you want to be the best Facebook marketer. That comes once you've filled your bases. And the same applies when you're thinking about products. So if you think about selling a bottle of water, do you have to explain what water is? Probably not. If you're trying to sell a bottle of water, is it easy? Actually, it's not, because if you're, in many places, you get free water in a tap at home. In many places, they can go to buy bulk bottled water from a superstore or whatever it is. Why is your water different? So you now need to think about, right, where does it sit in this hierarchy? Does this water create safety? Does it create social, belonging? Does it help your self-esteem? Or is it something a bit more than that? Now, let's take, for example, this bottle of water is designed for people who are on a keto diet, and it keeps them in the kind of state of, keto. It's got ketones, whatever it is. Now you're appealing to a different layer of that person's need. So when I have a product, I'm thinking about where that product fits in terms of the need, what the price is, and then I can think about the proposition and the problem I'm solving. So what problem does water solve? That's one problem. What problem does water that has ketones solve? That's a very different problem. So you need to understand that about your product before you get started. Part 2 is then, right, I understand my product. I want to understand my audience. And this is the simple sheet that we put together. I call it the 5W avatar, because there's 5 questions as with the letter W. What is the transformation? So for example, this is, for example, let's talk about weight loss, and the transformation is keeping yourself in ketosis and burning fat, whatever it is. Who are we targeting? That's your avatar. So I create one of these per avatar. So that could be, you know, it could be a separate one for male 25 plus, female 25 plus, but you can go a bit further. Maybe the male that's bodybuilding, the female that's bodybuilding, the male that wants to lose weight, the female that wants to lose weight. Maybe there's different messages there. And then building the pain points and opportunities and also the features, because all of that goes into your ads and into your funnel. But I also include barriers and objections for actually buying, because they're the things that you're going to have to solve in your ads. Then the part 3 is creating our offers. An offer is a simple way of connecting the products to the audience, and it could be just strong copy. It could be, you know, it could be talking about discounts and bundles. Doesn't have to. Offers need to create action. That's the only reason they exist. If you have an ad and you want someone, you know, you want to sell someone, you're giving them a promotion, a bundle, whatever it is, your offer and your ad and your content and your creative and your lander has to create action. So the way I go about doing this is, once I built my avatar sheet, we turn that into an ad, and I'll show you how. So what we do is to take each angle, so each emotional trigger, and turn that into an ad, and to test for each of our audiences. Because when I write down an angle or you know, a hook or a transformation or a target avatar, at this stage, I don't know. Every single business that I start with, I don't know if something's going to work, but I've gone through that planning phase and I've written down what my hypotheses are. Then I want to test that as fast as possible and as cheaply as possible as well. So to give you an example, this is an ad I ran maybe, I don't know, 6 or 8 months ago. If you look at this, I've got an angle and a pain point in the first few lines of my copy. When you create an ad like this, which calls out and pulls in an avatar, you can generally go broader with your targeting. So some people many years ago would say you'd have to go laser targeting and create 10 different interests and intersect them, and you know, someone who's interested in that and this and this. I don't do that. I have broad audiences, big lookalikes and things like that, because that creates stability. I focus my time and attention on the ad copy and the creative and the lander. And that's what builds my stability and gives me far less anxiety, because I don't get so many of these yo-yo performances. So I have a pain point. Do you struggle to come up with new ads, creative copy for Facebook? Who am I appealing to? Someone who's advertising on Facebook. If you're not advertising on Facebook, you're going to go past this, and that's fine as well. So then, you know, what I want to do is create enough curiosity to get them to click the see more and get a visual that matches what I'm talking about. I then take those angles and test multiple angles with the same image. So what if there's a quicker way to create hundreds of ads within minutes, or coming up with new ideas is the most difficult part? They're all the same theme. That's all I've changed, is the first few lines of this hook. The rest of the copy stays the same, images are the same, the description at the bottom stays the same. Once I have tested that, then I test different images. And what I'm doing is systematically taking my hypotheses to say, right, these angles could be working, these angles could work, finding creatives that match the emotion or what I'm trying to get across, and get people to take action. I then turn that into my test campaigns. I test those in a way that gets me fast results, and I can see what's working and what's not working before moving that ready for optimization and scaling. This part hasn't changed for, I don't know, 6-7 years. I still do the same thing and it still works. And this way I don't push new ads or new ideas into my stable campaigns, because this is always a concern. You know, if you're spending 1,000 a day or 10,000 a day, whatever it is, and you're getting really good performance, your concern is often, I don't want to change anything because things could break. Well, don't. Leave your campaigns there running as they are. Do your testing in different campaigns. That's how I do it. And I'm testing all my theories before they go into the main campaigns. Step 4 is then to build your funnels. Now, this is the ADA funnel: awareness, interest, desire, and action. And you know, this concept is about, if you have an ad, you need to get someone to look at it first, right? So that's the awareness part. Then you need to get them to take an interest. So if you look at the way I construct my ads, I'm trying to get them interested, and then I create that desire, and then get them to take action. I do the same kind of work in my campaigns. So I structure them. You know, my top of funnel is cold, my middle of funnel is warm for retargeting, and hot are people that visit the site, not purchase. And then right at the bottom, the part that most people miss out is existing customers. So if you can monetize them again via email, via ads, messenger, and SMS, you absolutely should as well. And then what we're doing is taking those different parts of the funnel in our ads manager and figuring out what does that journey look like. So in this example, if I look at top of funnel, we've generated a 7 return on ad spend, 7x. Our middle of funnel is 10x, and our bottom of funnel is 44 times return on ad spend, which is our retargeting. FYI, this is one of the biggest scaling campaigns that we ran. Our average return on ad spend was 21x. We were scaling up, or 10, 20x kind of return, but we had this campaign structure and everything was primed and working. And when you've got this in place, Facebook just works because you're giving Facebook what it needs and it gives you what you want in return. So the big takeaway here is that the secret to making Facebook ads work is creating and testing ads, angles, and creatives for each part of your ad funnel, because this relates to exactly what Facebook want from you. So going into the last part of this, how to generate $5 from $1 ad spend without being a Facebook ads expert. So if we look at this, when I started off, I used to believe Facebook, was against me. I've been through all of these conversations that you've probably had as well. Spent too much time looking at competitors, trying to figure out what they were doing so I could do it myself. I felt like I didn't really have much control. And this is the reason why that so many people are not profiting, because it's that value proposition. I want to bring that back, but now talk about the numbers and the technicalities and what you should be focusing on. So, I almost gave up in, 2014, before I figured things out. I was spending 2K and making 2K back. Now, if you look at that plus, cost of goods and things for the e-commerce store, effectively we were making a loss. I could see that I was making sales, but the profits were just continually going down. But then I realized something. My kind of big aha moment was that I was making sales, so people were actually buying, but I was just not doing it profitably. How can I get more people to buy with the same cost? So how can I increase my conversion rate, or could I get them spending more when they came? What did Facebook actually want from me? This is the secret, right? I've told you this already. This is what Facebook want from you. They want to show they want you to show the history of your ads and your funnels are successful. So you get good responses from your ads and your funnel, and therefore you're giving the user great value, and Facebook will then return that back to you with great results. And there are two major parts of this: your funnel and your offer. These are the two biggest things that you can influence to make Facebook ads work for you. So, right now, the way we use data has changed. The way we decide what to optimize has not. So let me show you what that means. So this is a recent table that I took of one of the e-com stores that we're running. And, when I'm looking at this, I'm looking at our return on ad spend. I'm looking at our average order value, our cost per acquisition, our sales conversion rate, and our cost per click. That's all I need to do at the account level, the campaign level, the ad level, to understand what's working, what's not, and what to do about it. So, if I look at that first example, right now, 412% return on ad spend, our cost per acquisition is far lower because our conversion rate has gone up. So even though our cost per click is actually the highest it's been for 2 weeks, we are far more profitable because our conversion rate has more than doubled. So just, what I want you to understand from this is Facebook's costs will always fluctuate. There'll always be times where you're stressed out because the CPM, how much you're paying for your 1,000 impressions, has gone up. A lot of that is outside of your control. But conversion rates, that's so much more in your control. Who you're targeting, what kind of ads you've got, and how your landing pages work. So how do you lower acquisition costs? You convert more users. So if you look at the cost per acquisition, there are only 2 levers to improving your cost per acquisition. So it could be cost per acquisition, cost per lead, cost per registration, cost per whatever you want that action to be. You either reduce your Facebook costs or you increase your conversion rates. So I'll give you an example. This workshop, I believe, converted at about 35-45%. So conversion rate for people showing an interest in this workshop is converting really, really well. That allows us to worry less about Facebook. So, when we run ads into workshops like this, it allows us to focus less on what's happening with Facebook and focus more on what we have control over. Then if you look at return on ad spend, if you look at lifetime value, which are crucial parts of the equation as well for selling things online, to improve profits, you get more customers to pay more. buy more and buy more often. So return on ad spend, how do you improve that? You either reduce your acquisition costs, which I've showed you how to do, or you increase your average order value. So to give you an example, we're running an e-com store and it was in a competitive niche. It was one of our own stores. And we got our cost per acquisition down to a good level, but we were still not running as many profits as we could. All we did is, number one, we increased the price by $10 for the products, and we introduced bundles. So our average order value went from, I think, $50 or $55 up to $80. That's a huge swing in the profit per order. With the same cost per acquisition, now we're profitable. So that's as simple as it is. Then if you look at lifetime value, you look at your average order value on the e-commerce business and how many orders you've generated. And the takeaway from this is the way Facebook is going and the way ad platforms are going is Facebook is an acquisition channel. It's always been an acquisition channel. Once you acquire that customer, you've paid, now they're yours. Then you need to keep on monetizing them. So that could be email, messenger, SMS, even Facebook ads as well. But at that point, you're constantly being able to profit without having to reacquire. So if that customer cost you, let's say $50 on the first purchase, and even if they purchase something for $50 and you break even, if they're going to buy something every single month, now they've bought another $50 product, another 50, another. In 4 months' time, they've spent $200 with you. Your acquisition cost is still $50. So you're able to make it profitable. So when it comes to your strategy, it's just thinking a bit differently about how you acquire. Then you look at, right, okay, I understand all of that. How do I get my Facebook costs down? How do I actually, get better cost per click? That comes down to how much you're paying in the auction, your CPM, and what your click-through rate is. So if you want to get your cost per click down, you figure out ways to get your CPM down or to get your click-through rate up, and ideally both as well. And they're all strategies that I have covered off, but I don't primarily focus on them because so much of that is outside of my control. How do I get CPMs down? Well, there's an auction. I don't know what other people are bidding, who's doing manual bids, what quality signals they're doing. Click-through rates, it's against the competition. So if someone sees my ad versus someone else's, how do I know what someone else is serving? Yes, I can iterate and test that, but that takes more effort and more ad spend to test than to get things converting or getting more value from the purchase as well. So even if there's less data available for analysis, it does not stop us from making the right decision. So here's an example. I spent so much time worrying about the cost. So my cost per acquisition in this example is $33, cost per click. If all I worried about was getting that cost per click down from $1, I'm going to spend a lot of wasted time and money trying to do so. What if we just double conversion rate? As I've shown you in that example, all of a sudden we've gone from 0.75 return on ad spend to 1.5. Our cost per acquisitions have halved. What now if we increase our average order value? That's a far easier and quicker and more profitable way of improving your Facebook results than stressing out about getting that $1 down to $0.50. Because even if you get it down to $0.50 per click, next week Facebook CPMs are going to go up or there's more competition, you're going to be screwed. So, focus on the metrics that are in your control because it's easier to control your funnel than it is to control Facebook. So don't get caught up in the tech hype of, iOS 14 cookies and tech. Simplify your Facebook advertising and focus more of your time on marketing than the technical side. The technical side is a secondary or a tertiary layer. Your top layer has to be all about the advertising. When you're able to do that, and that's how we're able to generate $1 in, $5 out, or whatever your goal is. This depends on your average order value, your niche. Maybe for you, $2 back for $1 is good enough. Maybe for others, it's $10 for every dollar spent. But increasing your average order value and your conversion rates have a bigger impact. And, for people that are, I get comments saying, I've got a $27 info product and, I can't make it profitable. Think about back-end offers. Think about your funnel. Once they've bought that $27 program or whatever you're selling, get them to buy something else, get them to buy something else, continue to deliver value, and then all of a sudden you're profitable. It's not difficult. So here's an example of someone that went through these exact strategies. He was an e-com dropshipper. He launched following our systems, and the two biggest levers were increasing conversion rates and order values. And then he was able to scale up. And this is through iterative testing and being able to really reduce that cost per acquisition, increase the profitability, then optimize, and then scale up. People want to scale too early, but if you've not done the optimization, then you're going to struggle. So the big takeaway for number 3 here is, the secret to mastering Facebook ads is tweak and optimize first what's in your control and then worry about Facebook, because Facebook will constantly change. It's been doing it since I've been advertising since 2011, 2012. It will continue doing it for as long as it's around. But if you focus on what's in your control, you'll be able to bypass a lot of the noise and be able to create that consistency. So we've covered quite a lot today. The 7 main things that we covered. Number 1 is the ads core 4, the AC4, creating ad angles, copy, and creative, building your offer and bundling, your funnels, conversion rates, order values, and lifetime value, and above all, mastering Facebook's algorithm to get it working for you.
In the past 10 years, Crack Revenue has been working hand in hand with affiliates. We feel blessed to have thousands of brand ambassadors across the world that proudly promote both Crack Revenue and our most profitable brands. Because of this, we want to help them succeed by doing everything we can, from dedicated affiliate managers to 24/7 live chat support, to newsletters and blogs packed with insight and expert advice. We also update our Crack Revenue platform on a monthly basis, providing more tools, more features, and more creative content for affiliates to use. Not only do we want affiliates to follow the whale, but become one as well.